Hey BC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here, which is actually a video response to Adam, um, AJW Golf 4, his 100 subscribers thread. First and foremost, as always, congratulations on the 100 subs. I'm sure many, many more will be coming your way. Just wanted to kind of jump in here and answer two really quick questions that he had. It's been kind of cool catching up in terms of his videos and his collection and so forth. Adam's one of the newer, well, not necessarily newer to the VC, but one of the newer people that I've discovered in the VC. Seems like every couple of days there's somebody I stumble across that has 10, 15 videos up, and I haven't, seen a single one or seen them or anything. So he was one of the newer people I've discovered recently. So yeah, man, again, congratulations, and here's my little input. This right here is what's playing in the background, which is Hank Mobley. And I'm actually playing this because, I don't know, I was kind of looking around on eBay the other day, and I saw a copy of this, and there was a bid on it. It was about $238 or something like that. And so I was kind of looking at it and was like, oh, okay, let's check this out. Now, then I realized it was an original press, a Blue Note release of this album. And so I thought, okay, cool, let me just kind of hit the watch on here and just see how much it ends up going for. And it just ended the other day, and I think it sold for like $3,800 and something. And of course, my nice reissue that I bought brand new was only $11. So, I don't know, it's just one of those funny moments that made me think about, how crazy we are as collectors. And, you can have the same type of music, an album, vinyl, whatever else, but one man pays $11, another man pays $3,800. And it made me think about my collection too, in terms of things where I paid maybe more for the, original copy than reissues. And we are wacky people as collectors. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. Let's jump into Adam's questions here, which number one was, what's your favorite album or albums released so far this year? One thing I've noticed in like the last 3 years or so, especially the last 3 years, 2010, 2011, 2012, is the new release thing has become something that does not carry a lot of importance to me, unless it's a band that I really, really love or really follow. And really that kind of boils down to like anything Accept comes out with at this point in time, I'll have it the second it hits the shelves, no matter how much it costs. Anything that Metallica comes out with, anything that Godsmack comes out with, and probably pretty much anything In This Moment comes out with. Anything they release, I'm buying it without knowing a single thing about it, without knowing if it's good or not, without trying to find it at the best price. Those are automatic buys. Outside of that, most of the stuff is just stuff I stumble across. I hear you guys in the VC talking about. I don't know if it's just a thing where it's so saturated now, just in terms of bands and whether it's independent labels and everything else just kind of coming out of the woodwork. I don't get caught up in the new release thing. And I guess when you really get down to it, that's not necessarily what the question is about. I mean, it's more about what were your favorite new releases. But I'm just kind of explaining that because there hasn't been a ton of them over the past few years for me, past 2 or 3 years, where I've just felt like, oh, all these great releases came out. But if I had to pick one, actually I picked two. These were the first two that came to mind. This will probably be one of my favorite releases for 2012, which is, I'm not sure how the lighting is doing from this angle, but I'll just kind of move it, whatever. This is Accept's Stalingrad, Brothers in Death. This was the follow-up from their 2010 Blood of Nations, which, Blood of Nations was an album that just absolutely blew me away. So, I was really anticipating Accept's next album, and sure enough, year and a half later, this pops out. It was one that I knew I wanted right off the bat, and just like Blood of Nations, they did not disappoint. It's on a red, kind of clear, somewhat clear vinyl there. Accept is just, they've gone back to basics in terms of just basic metal. I mean, just the old school stuff, the old school flavor that I love so much. So I think this was probably the one album as far as releases for 2012 that I was most excited about, without question. And again, it was one that I bought without even thinking about it. It was just kind of an automatic. And for those of you maybe that haven't heard that, or especially if you haven't heard Blood Up Nations, make sure you check those albums out. If you like the old school metal, that's right there. The other one that came to mind was this one here, which is Van Halen. Of course, this is their new release, A Different Kind of Truth. And I say this as being one of my favorite releases for 2012, not even so much because the music on it was so great, because it was a pretty average Van Halen album, which is still, I mean, that's, most bands would kill to have an average Van Halen album. It's still pretty good on the list. But I mean, just in terms of their body of work, it was average. But I think this is one of my favorite releases just because of everything that it encompassed. Be it, getting another album with David Lee Roth at the lead, even though I probably would have rather heard an album. Well, I'm not going to say that. I mean, I can't, when it comes to the Roth and the Hagar thing, I can't put either one of those guys above the other. I mean, Van Hagar and Van Halen, both of those were absolutely fantastic. But, obviously, never thinking Roth was going to come back, having him come back was pretty cool. The fact they went on tour again because of this album, there were decent songs on it, and just being able to go out and buy a new Van Halen album, I mean, just all that stuff put together outside of just the music definitely made this one of my favorite releases for 2012. So those would be the two that really stick out in my mind that generated a lot of excitement in me that, as far as coming out in 2012. Question number 2, what artists have you really gotten into this year? I'm assuming that doesn't necessarily mean artists that came out this year, but just artists that you kind of picked up a lot of steam on this year. And that was kind of an easy question too, because when I look at where I was in January and where I am now, the one artist / group that has jumped into my collection, into my musical world, and just has kind of taken over in a lot of different ways are these bad boys right here, which is Sepultura. January 1st of this year, I knew the name, but just never really, checked them out, never really, just kind of one of those things that just goes by the wayside, just don't pay attention to it. And then I was at a garage sale this past spring, and I actually found this album on CD, and it was only like a couple of bucks, and I picked it up, listened to it one time, and I'm like, did I hear what I just think I heard? Listened to it again, like, yep, I heard what I just thought I heard, and I was just floored. And so at that point in time, I started picking up, as much Sepultura stuff as I could come across, especially in terms of vinyl. So this album, Arise, is still my favorite by them, and every single song on it is fantastic, especially Dead Embryonic Cells. That song just blows me away. I play that one probably to the same degree that I play Master of Puppets right now. But yes, I started picking up, more of their stuff, Roots and on. And this is definitely the band that has come on big time for me this year. I went from not knowing him to, probably being one of my top 3 metal bands of all time at this point. So that was my breakthrough in terms of discovering a new group for this year. But anyway, like I said, nothing too big or exciting there, but I just wanted to make sure I had a chance to jump in and, again, congratulate you on your 100 subs. And there's a couple other threads that are floating around out there. There's also a video I want to do for Billy Crayone, and I'm going to try to get all those knocked out in the next day or two, make sure I respond to those. And as always, thanks, BC, and we'll talk to you soon.